Chapter 68 of Married Thrice to Salted Fish. In morning court, all the ministers were discussing the war between the Dayu and Shishya. Shishya had launched a comeback and they have even changed their chief commander. The way their army marched was completely different from before. Xiao Mingwei could not find any clue how to counter. After 3 consecutive small defeats, he adopted a consecutive strategy. Falling back to defend the city, avoided leaving. He was now asking the capital for help. In his letter, Zhao Mingwei repeatedly emphasized that he was not qualified to be the head general and he asked His Majesty to send General Gu take over command as soon as possible. Dude, Zhao Mingwei, please don't put my man General Gu on a pedestal. You know, he can't be the only person running the damn freaking military. You guys have to pick up some freaking skills. Oh, I miss the domestic bliss already. The emperor, atop his throne, looked down at his ministers. Shao Cheng stood at the head of this group of ministers. Nowadays, the imperial family's father and son looked quite similar. Both had sickly complexions. They were thin and haggard. The emperor put his hand on his forehead, his brows furrowed. The minister's petitions were incessant, assaulting in his ears, mixed with Shao Cheng's muffled coughs from time to time. It gave him a splitting headache. Shao Cheng too was expending all his willpower to attend court. Shenhaxi's sword had injured his left lung. Not unless some miracle worker doctor were to suddenly appear, he would not be able to live out his life like a normal person. Another person expending all his willpower to attend court was Gu Fuzhao. He stood ramrod straight, his eyes lowered. People saw him thought he was deep in contemplation. I'm pretty sure he's freaking sleeping. General Gu and young Master Lin had only just gotten married. Are we to drive him back to the battlefield? Their marriage bed had yet to be even warm. The one who spoke was General Wu Zhan, who was good friends with Gu Fuzhao. The Prime Minister stroked his beard and said, General Wu's words are wrong. Only when one has a country can one have a family. Faced with this national crisis, does General Gu intend to abandon the 300,000 strong army in the northwest because of his reluctance to leave a land of warmth and tenderness? Wu Zhan grumbled and swore. What national crisis? Minister Xue exaggerates the situation. Aren't these just a few Shishya bandits? Wu Zhan stepped forward and knelt down. Your Majesty, you give me 10,000 elite soldiers and I will go to the northwest to support General Zhao immediately. Within 3 months, I shall bring to the Dayu a great victory. The Prime Minister shook his head and said, You speak conceited nonsense, overestimating your own abilities. Wu Zhan said, brimming with anger, I overestimate my abilities? Then you go do it. Yes, all these freaking civil officials, not knowing anything about the real battle, talking all this nonsense. Huh? Gosh, they're all talk. The emperor listened to the two arguing, saying nothing, moving not an inch, and without even any change in his expression. Suddenly he said, Crown Prince, what do you think of this matter? Shao Cheng seemed not to have heard. His expression remained unchanged, his thoughts obviously straying from the present. The emperor called out sharply, Crown Prince. Shao Cheng finally came back to his senses and said, Your humble son agrees. You agree? And whose proposal are you agreeing to? Of course, to Minister Shers. Shao Cheng coughed again. Your humble son is unwell and has been discourteous before the court. I hope my imperial father may forgive me. In consideration for Shao Cheng's condition, the emperor held back his anger. He then asked Gu Fuzhao, Gu Aicheng, what do you think? Gu Fuzhao, ... After being ignored twice in a row, the emperor couldn't bear it any longer. He slammed his hand on the table and shouted angrily, Gu Fuzhao! Gu Fuzhao opened his eyes. There was a lightning quick flash of confusion in his eyes. When he saw Wu Zhan kneeling in front of the emperor, his posture that of requesting the emperor to allow him to be dispatched, Gu Fuzhao could already make a guess what the emperor was asking. Though General Wu is talented and outstanding leader of troops, his talent lay not in formulating overall tactics. I think he is more suitable in leading the vanguard. Wu Zhan kept throwing pointed looks at Gu Fuzhao, but Gu Fuzhao just pretended not to see them. Moreover, the terrain in the northwest is mostly plains and deserts. General Wu's expertise lay in naval battles. Sending him to the northwest would not be suitable. Gu Fuzhao's words were reasonable and well-founded, and the emperor could not find any fault. He had no choice but to adjust his tone and say, Gu Aicheng's words are reasonable. Wu Zhan is indeed not suitable for command of the northwest. The Prime Minister took the opportunity to say, General Gu has been stationed in the northwest for many years. No one knows how to march in those plains and deserts better than the general. There is no one more suitable than General Gu to command in the northwest. The Minister of War agreed. The general's secret return to the capital was to dispel the sky spider poison. Now the poison has been resolved, and the general has also been married with a great fanfare. The matter of the general's return to the capital has long ceased to be a secret. Shishya too has learned about the head general's absence in Yongliang, and they dare to act so recklessly. If the general does not return to stabilize the army's morale, I'm afraid it will only further embolden Shishya. Gu Fuzhao's brows furrowed. Hand to his chest, he said, Allow me to lead the troops to battle. Wu Zhan hurriedly said, No, although the sky spider poison has been resolved, the successive poisonings have long damaged the general's body. The doctor said that if the general wishes to live past a few years, he must stay in the capital to recuperate. The doctor Wu Zhan spoke of was none other than Gu Fuzhao's new wife. A few days ago, Wu Zhan went to the general's mansion as a guest, and General Gu, without bothering with trifles, asked his new wife to drink at the same table. It was then that the general's wife revealed about the general's condition to him. Gu Fuzhao said solemnly, Before the needs of the nation, I wish to place the matter of my life and death aside. How could this possibly be? The general's very life and death is a matter that concerns the nation. If he were forced to return to the northwest at this time, causing a relapse, would this not be even more to the liking of those Shishya thieves? The emperor's headache was getting unbearable. He had been expecting Shao Cheng to step up and preside over the overall situation. But apart from reply to him, Shao Cheng had not said a word. Who knows what he was thinking? He had such high hopes for the crown prince. How did things turn out like this? The matter of the head general will be set aside for later discussion. For now, come up with a temporary plan to provide Xiao Mingwei a plan for action. This session of the morning court is done. The emperor, physically and mentally exhausted, got to his feet and was immediately staggered, feeling dizzy. All the ministers got to their knees. We asked the emperor to look after his health. After the ministers were dismissed, Gu Fuzhao and Wu Zhan walked out together. Wu Zhan asked him, "General, why won't you let me go to the northwest?" Gu Fuzhao said, "You're fundamentally ill-suited for battle in the northwest. Having him go would only be giving the enemy another head. It was unnecessary." "But if I don't go, the general will have to go," Wu Zhan joked. Could it be that the general is willing to leave his new wife to spend several years in the desolate northwest? "Naturally, I'm most unwilling," Gu Fuzhao said, eloquent and rousing. "A man of character aspires to travel far and make one's mark. How could one be confined to but one place in the universe for love?" Wu Zhan was immediately filled with deep veneration. "The general is truly a role model for my generation." After separating from Wu Zhan, Gu Fuzhao saw a eunuch carrying a vase heading in his direction. The vase was half as high as a person. Carrying it, it was impossible to see the path ahead. The eunuch who was guiding Gu Fuzhao out was afraid that this person would block General Gu's way, and so he said, "Shao Songxi, you have to slow down." "Shao Songxi?" Gu Fuzhao asked. Could this be Shao Songxi of Qinzheng Hall? With much difficulty, Shao Songxi managed to stick his head out from behind the vase. Seeing Gu Fuzhao, he hurriedly said, replying to the general, "This is indeed on duty at Qinzheng Hall." Qinzheng Hall. Sorry, I am messing all these Chinese names. The corners of Gu Fuzhao's lips ticked up slightly. "I have long looked forward to meeting you." Shao Songxi was overwhelmed by the unexpected favor. What virtue could a eunuch like himself have that the general would anticipate making his acquaintance? The general jests. It is the servant who has long wished for the honor of meeting the mighty general. "You are being humble." Gu Fuzhao turned to the eunuch who was leading the way for him. "Please allow Shao Songxi to be the one to see me out." The eunuch who led the way took the vase from Shao Songxi and stepped back. Gu Fuzhao said, "I have heard the madam mention you." Shao Songxi said, "Dr. Lin, the general's wife, used to treat us servants." Gu Fuzhao nodded lightly and asked, "Did the emperor's headaches not already get better? Why is his complexion so terrible today?" Shao Songxi, worthy of his name, Shao Songxi, said without any hesitation. Replying to the general, the emperor was indeed much better before, but when the winter came, the headaches suddenly intensified once again. Medicine and acupuncture proved no use. Even Lin Yunpan is at a loss. Gu Fuzhao returned to the general's mansion. Before he could even ask, Yuan said, "The madam should be in the study now." Gu Fuzhao handed his official's hat to Yuan and headed straight for the study. The door of the study was open. Pushing aside the wind-blocking curtain, he saw Lin Qingyu dressed in white, sitting by the window, studying a game of chess. He held a chess manual in one hand while the fingertip of the other carelessly rolled a black piece. Though bright and vibrant of face, his temperament was as cold as the moon, as though he was placed far above the mundanity of the world. Fontong was positioned to one side, quietly adding charcoal to the stove. Damn, please tell him to be confined evermore to one place for love. What did a man of character aspiring to travel far and make his mark have anything to do with him? He just wanted to be able to sleep until he wakes up naturally and then stay at home and indulge in the sight of this beauty. Lin Chingyu was so engrossed in studying the chess match that he didn't notice him entering until he heard a familiar voice. Lin Chingyu? Lin Chingyu looked up and said, "What's wrong?" "What do you mean, what's wrong?" "You have never called me Lin Chingyu," Gu Fuzhao asked deliberately. "Then, how do I usually call you? Chingyu or Dr. Lin?" Lin Chingyu frowned. "Did something happen?" "It's nothing." Gu Fuzhao smiled a little wickedly. "Oh, if it isn't Hontong, I guess we should keep the lovey-dovey to a minimum. He's not even married yet. Seeing us all seeing us all close in affection might make him sad." Huantong said indignantly. "I won't," Lin Chingyu said, displeased. "Next time, don't call me by my full name. I'm not used to it." Gu Fuzhao coughed twice, not wanting to appear too proud of himself. "I will try my best." Gu Fuzhao slumped across from Lin Chingyu, picked up a white piece, and tossed back and forth. He said, sounding offhand, "Chingyu, your marriage leave is probably coming to an end." Lin Chingyu had mentioned to Gu Fuzhao before that the prescription for the emperor's headache included the wings of a golden silkworm gu. The golden silkworm gu took different forms for each seasons, and the preparation of the medicine would also change accordingly. Even his father didn't understand the subtleties of it. Wow, he's such a freaking genius. I mean, I know it's already established throughout the story that he's a genius, but this kind of details, like very tiny, minuscule details, and him being able to manipulate those minuscule things and get what he wants, that's like chef's kiss. As the weather grows colder, the previous prescription would gradually lose effect. If the emperor didn't want to be tormented by the headaches once again, he was left with no choice but invite Lin Chingyu back. Lin Chingyu was not at all surprised by this matter. "Is that so?" Not long after, Hualu came to call them to dinner. After dinner, Gu Fuzhao went bitterly to the training grounds to lift weights, and Lin Chingyu continued the unfinished chess game. When the night grew dark, the two returned to their bedroom and went to bed. In the middle of the night, Lin Chingyu was awakened by thirst. He opened his eyes and saw that a light was burning in the room. It was Gu Fuzhao who had lit a lamp, under whose light he wrote and pondered. Lin Chingyu had no idea what he could be writing. Lin Chingyu had been witness to a lot of times when Gu Fuzhao did not act like his usual self. It was when he saw him occasionally being serious that he would remember that this person was every bit as scheming as he was. Only that most of the time, Lin Qingyu didn't bother to think about it. Lin Qingyu sat up. Gu Fuzhao heard the movement and turned to look at him. You're awake? I'm thinking about how Shisha's newly appointed chief commander uses his troops. Gu Fuzhao looked down at the enemy's marching route that he had received based on his memory. And, he had recreated based on his memory and what Zhao Mingwei had written in his report. It's kind of interesting, Lin Qingyu asked. Why don't you do this during the day? Gu Fuzhao said without hesitation. Because I want to play during the day. Lin Qingyu got out of bed. He put on an outer robe and poured himself a cup of tea. So, are you worried about the war situation in the northwest? No, I was just thinking about it casually. Gu Fuzhao started to write. If he chooses to strive, let him strive. I choose to lie at home. Lin Qingyu, taking precaution, took 2 steps back. He vigilantly watched the brush in Gu Fuzhao's hand. Whenever Gu Fuzhao held a brush while lost in thought, he was in danger of being splattered with ink. Gu Fuzhao paused. What's wrong? Lin Qingyu said. Are you trying to dirty me again? Gu Fuzhao was momentarily dazed. Hey Qingyu, you can't say those double meanings. After confirming his own intentions, he said with a smile, It's over. It seems I was thinking about it a bit.